How's it going, guys? We are live. Zach Ginn here with
Rick Ginn, aka Dad.
And today what we're going to do is we're going to break down our top wholesaling real estate gems. We're really excited for this one, and I can't wait. So we're going to just break down as many real estate wholesaling gems as we can. So let's break it down. So mostly going to be the gems from Rick because I do a lot of lives. So I really want to hear them from Rick and just see what I can do to help everyone out. So let's get it going.
Let's do it.
The microphone to you.
What do you want to start out on? What topic?
All right, let's bring it up. And guys, remember, before we get into it, please smash that like button and subscribe. All right. So let's get it. Let's do it from the top. Ready?
Oh, I'm ready, man.
All right. Give me some general marketing gems you got.
Okay. Can they hear me on that, you think?
Yeah, just get closer.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, so on any type of marketing you do, I don't care if it's cold calling, SMS, even direct mail if you do that. The key to any type of marketing message or any type of medium you use is to get them to contact you. So if I'm on a cold call, I want to find a way to engage them and get past that first, what do you think? It's the first 10 seconds, 20 seconds of who is this and what is it?
That's 10 seconds.
Okay. So let's start with cold calling.
Should put your chair down too.
You're too high?
You're the same level as me.
I'm taller.
All right.
Okay.
I know.
So when you guys are like cold calling, the whole job is to just try to engage them. And because the first 10 to maybe even 20 seconds, it seems like it's a fight. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
And so so I think the biggest comeback people have is, how did you get my phone number?
Yep. And
so you have to take that objection and turn it into an opportunity. So if you take that objection and you start fighting with them, it's going to be painful. There's no other way. So you have to find a way to take the objection and turn it into an opportunity. An opportunity is just to get them connected to you. And that's it. So without going deep into cold calling, that's the first step. Number 2, on SMS, the biggest thing I see from an operation standpoint, because Zach runs the whole texting department of our company, is you have to find a way to engage them, to get them past the initial message to a phone call. How many deals have you done purely by texting, never ever talking to somebody?
It's always, you just find the yes and you go on the phone.
Okay. So understand, when you do SMS, which is texting, you have to get them on the phone. So if you start the initial text, hey, interested in selling your property. Yeah, I would need some more information. I'm right there trying to call them like instantly. You're not, those of you who think you can take a deal down 100% by text, you might do one in a blue moon here and there, but I'm telling you, you're going to have to talk to them. Once you get them on the phone, it's a whole different ball game. So there's a different connect between a text and a phone call. Would you agree?
The texting's only for finding the seller that says yes.
So
So
texting, you have to look at it as a locating tool, a prospecting tool. And you still have to basically get them on the phone. It's not quite a cold call. I would call it more of a warm call. And you still are going to have to turn an objection into an opportunity and go from there. So many of you guys are so busy trying to either fight on the phone or just text your way through a deal. And I'm telling you, at some point you have to convert. In my experience, if you do too much texting with someone, it becomes the norm. And as you guys know, if you've ever texted somebody, boyfriend, girlfriend, a spouse, people read text a whole lot different than they do a phone call, right? They react to you differently. They actually communicate to you differently. Some use caps, and maybe they're, I've had a thing where I've even hit the cap lock and it just types all caps. And now, why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling at you. So much stuff can go wrong in a text. So use the texting for an engagement. The last one I have is any type of marketing message you do in print, aka direct mail, or maybe if you do door hangers, or if you kind of do flyers or like urgent packages on people's doors, is Make sure you have a clear call to action. A call to action is just, hey, do this to get this. And if you, so many times you guys fill up these postcards and these letters and these packages with pages and pages of all your services. Keep it simple. The less you put on there, the more intrigued you usually will make them. So find out what your bullet points are, and it's been done to death. You don't have to do it 1,000 times, and you have to give them a reason to call you, and that should be tied in your call to action. Hey, let me show you how I can solve your problem, or call me and I'll show you how to get through the red tape. Something as simple as that. And it's got to be a little bit edgy, in my opinion, especially in today's market. But anybody who sends a postcard that's full head to toe, or like a letter that's 2 pages long, I don't know about you, but I don't have the attention span to read it. Nobody does anymore. And so if you don't get to the point in the first 2 or 3 lines, you're going to lose them. And they really, and then like, well, why do I need to call this guy? I will tell you this, there used to be a day when we used to send out all sorts of marketing mediums and say, call this number and I'll explain in detail how it works. Yeah. The old school thought was, well, they're more comfortable calling a recorded number because they feel safe. I don't know how about you. Like, I would never try that in today's market. I want to speak to someone live, and I want to know if like you're for real and like you actually buy houses. And I don't want to hear like a 2-minute video. It would drive me nuts. So that's kind of like my keys on it. So that covers texting, cold calling, any type of print.
We have the list here.
Direct mail. Which list?
Right here. So skip tracing. Chance for that.
Skip tracing.
I got some though.
I think that's kind of more of like your area. I will tell you, when you guys have smaller lists, you go out and collect 10 or 15, maybe properties in your neighborhood you're looking at. You don't always have to pay for a skip trace. You can do a lot of it for free. There's a lot of services out there. A simple Google search. In the old days before skip tracing, Spokio was the cutting edge thing a while back. And White Pages. What else is there? People Finder.
True People Search.
True People Search. You don't have to do every one. In the old days, we used to pay VAs to use these tools and build a skip trace list. Now they got a lot of fancy services, are great, especially if you're going to do batch. Batch would be what, anything over 50? Maybe.
No,
I don't know.
Over 1,000.
Okay, over 1,000, because it's not economically feasible. When I first did skip tracing, just to show you how long I've been doing this, it cost me $1.50, and I did.
Yeah, I remember that.
I did like 3,000 of them in a shot, and I was like, now it worked, but I'm just telling you, go back today, and the average rate, it's well under a quarter.
Yeah,
really under like 20 cents. And I had to get 3,000 to get that rate.
So skip tracing, the one thing I tell you is under 1,000, do truepeoplesearch.com. Again, True People Search. That's my gem for skip tracing. Obviously, my True People Search is my favorite. If you have to pay for it, we're using batch. So we're roughly at like 13 to 10 cents, depending on service you're using on batch. And if you use code ZACH, Z-A-C-H on the bottom, you get 50% off of that one. So that's the cheapest one you get. But overall, True People Search, it's the OG. It's the best one. So trying for dollars. What's your best gem for that one?
Do it. So driving for dollars, it's been around forever. And if you don't understand the value of driving for dollars, you'll appreciate it if you use any other marketing medium, especially direct mail, cold calling, SMS, because as you do these deals and you actually go to the properties and you meet with these sellers and you go, oh my God, I've driven by this house like 30 times. I can't believe like we're going on this appointment. I've been thinking about calling on this house forever. I just never got around to doing it. And I've done it thousands of times, and you will be surprised. So let's face it, you probably spent a good amount of money and time trying to get that lead. You pulled it from listrei.com. You did like a batch lead search for it. You probably took yourself or somebody you work with. You paid them to call on it. Endless, ruthless follow-up. You're using some sort of CRM. You guys use PropStream, and you find all this like, dude, I drive by this house every day. It's it's missing a mail receptacle.
Yeah.
It's got a blue tarp on the roof and the weeds are really high. And that's why you guys understand, like every time we pull up their property, it stands out like 9 times out of 10. Yeah. If you were driving in that neighborhood and you guys are all farming in a neighborhood, if somebody just drove around and picked up the addresses, it would be amazing. Now, when I did it, and I still do it, I still even walk around and collect addresses, but I just used a yellow pad and I would like write it down. Now I know
you can still do that. You got no money. That's what I would do.
Yeah. So it's simple. Sometimes I know that there's a lot more advanced tools you can take.
StoryID.com's got theirs. You got Deal Machine. Don't pay for it unless you're actually starting to get deals from Driving for Dollars.
No, but the idea is you can even, I don't know, you maybe even record your route or something like that and take pictures. So if I'm on a street, I'm just going to write down the house numbers. Now, I will tell you, I've done Driving for Dollars and actually got sick doing it because if you keep looking up and looking down, it's like.
I don't.
Okay, well, I'm older, so
no,
it's
but people can, if you're young enough, you can go out there and do it.
Yeah. So and a lot of the I don't know even if Apple does a thing where you can just take a picture and they mark the address. So Driving for Dollars, just do it, write it down, skip trace them, either pay for it or for free, depending on the volume you got. And these are houses you're already getting on your list and stuff. To me, it's just a faster way to do it. And if I'm short on money,
I agree. You're talking about this one guy, he's doing $100,000 deals just Driving for Dollars, right?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, somebody I know well in a market, and well, unfortunately, I trained him too good. He does Driving for Dollars, and I believe he had its probates to it. And the key to his Driving for Dollars is they collect the data, and the real money is in the massive follow-up. So if you commit to doing Driving for Dollars at least twice a week, start out once, but if you can do twice a week, if you can pick up 50 to 100 addresses, so if you got 200 addresses a week, and say you did it for 6 months, 6 months is what, 24 times 200, that's what, 6 months, roughly 26
weeks. Yeah.
So 26, that comes to what, 5,200 leads? Mm-hmm. So he says the secret in what he does is just complete, massive, utter follow-up. They just keep following up. Remember, people, it's all about timing and opportunity. So if you diligently follow up and you call these people every month, or you're doing it bi-monthly or even like quarterly, eventually you're going to run off enough people. And here's the really cool part. You guys aren't paying a lot of money for these lists, and it does work. And you're only keying on houses that make sense. You're not like picking up every MLS product listed out there, houses that don't make sense, that are in perfect shape, that you're probably not going to get a good deal on. And people do this solely alone and get 6-figure deals, guys. Houses leave clues. If you guys would just pick up, I know it's a little bit of energy, you get in your car and drive around, but the gas is a lot cheaper than buying some of these really expensive list services and stuff like that.
Definitely. So next one, I'll do this one, Bandit Signs. The more consistent you are at Bandit Signs, the better results you're going to get. With Bandit Signs, though, also, one thing I can tell you is do not answer the phone. If someone tells you code enforcement, just hang up on them. That's the number one gem I can give you. Don't talk to code enforcement.
All right. Let me share a little gem on it because I taught him Bandit Signs. I love Bandit Signs, but sometimes they get worn out in cities. So understand your place on Bandit Signs. When you have somebody calling on a Bandit sign, you have to screen. You have to screen heavily. Yep. So he talks about like code violations. In my experience doing this a long time, and I did Bandit Signs a lot back in the day, is, hey, tell me about the house you're selling. What's your name? The code violation people will last what, maybe 20, 30 seconds at best, and they melt every time. Oh, you can't be putting these signs out. Okay, have a nice day. We'll remove them. Bye. So once you start vetting them and within 30 seconds, they're done.
They're like cops. If you ask them, they have to tell you.
Yeah. So
in my experience, that's how it's always worked.
And you can tell after you hear enough people like, this guy doesn't sound right. Let me just walk through a series of questions. Yeah. And don't be rude to them. Just be polite.
Ask them if they're the owner of the house.
Yeah. Are you the owner of the house? What's your name? Yeah.
They won't lie.
And you guys have enough tools to go into PropStream and stuff like that you can verify it instantly.
Oh yeah, easily.
Not back in my day.
So acquisitions. Let's talk about some acquisition stuff. So, what's your number one gem for talking to sellers?
I really talk to as many sellers as humanly possible, especially in the beginning. If you're starting out, the more people you talk to, it'll gain the experience. And most importantly, is you'll gain the confidence to be able to do a deal with them. So if I know the first seller I talked to, I don't even know how I got through it. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I was like, holy crap. It was probably the scariest thing I did. So I had that experience. Zach had that experience. And I walked it through him. I said, Zach, just act as if, just do it. So if you know you're not going to lie to people and you know you're going to answer questions you don't know the answer to, like, don't be scared of it. There's nothing. The worst they're going to say to you is what? No, get out of my house.
That's true.
That's it. So talk to them, build the rapport, have that connection with them. And then you have to find a way to get to the conversation. So I find a lot of new people, and I got stuck in this when I started, not so much Zach, is sometimes acquisition people, they get stuck in the rapport building process and they build it up so massively.
Your best friends.
It becomes uncomfortable to have the conversation about the house. Yeah. So a little trick to save you on that is just to set up the upfront agreement. Say, listen, I'm going to come in, we're going to take a look at the house. I'm going to ask you some questions and we're going to sit down and either we're going to come to an agreement. The biggest thing you want to walk out with an acquisition is hopefully an answer, right?
Yep.
There is nothing worse than let me think about it. I'm not sure. Let me check with my neighbor. Let me check with someone's at. So if you get an upfront agreement and go, listen, if you want to work with me, that's great. And it works. You can say yes and move forward. If it's no, then just tell me you won't hurt my feelings. And so if they start hemming at the end, you can go back and go, remember upfront agreement? Yeah. They're like, oh, crap. So that'll help with that one.
Awesome. Then building rapport. How do you do it? Number one gem.
Only one. Use the house for clues, pictures on the wall. So the minute you walk in the house, especially the main living area, will be the most important pictures. It's most likely going to be family or some sort of hobby they have. It might be a model boat. It might be an airplane. It's going to give you the clues right off the bat. If you see a ton of pictures, I recently saw a house. There were so many pictures I couldn't see the wall of the family. I knew family was the most important thing to them. And I think that holds true for 80% of the people.
I agree. Competition, dealing with competition with acquisitions.
Don't compare yourself to any competitor. So the biggest competition you have is right up here.
How do you beat someone up, though? You got two people at one appointment. How are you going to beat them up?
You could do the Ricky Bobby way. You're either your first or your last. So what do I mean by that?
Shake and bake.
So yeah, you want to shake and bake them. The main thing is if you have an appointment at 9 a.m., I'm going to show up probably at 8:15. Now I'm going to go around the block, see what's going on. Guess what? If they're trying to fix the house up and move stuff around, you're going to see the clues right away on where the problems are in the house. And you can see what's going on. You can also see if somebody was meeting with the seller before you, which I find key. And the minute you find out it's a competition race, meaning they called multiple buyers, they say, listen, Mr. Seller, when you're done doing all this, give me a call and I want to work with you, but like I don't want to like confuse you with all this information. Are you okay with that? And so I show up, I make my presence. By you pulling out, you actually confuse them a little bit. Mm-hmm. The last thing you want to do is get in a bidding war. You will never win a bidding war. Whoever pays the most is usually the loser in our business. So remember, if you get an amazing rapport and you connect with them and you do everything the way we teach you to do it, you should get the deal. But every now and then people are just stuck on price. Remember, price is not always the best solution to someone's house, especially when a house has a problem. And what do we buy? We buy problems. So they need someone who's going to come through and do it. So when everybody presents, you can even circle back around and wait till everybody finishes. So, and then you also see who your competition is, but I don't really worry too much about others. People are going to do what they're going to do.
It's true. Next here is physical appointments. What's one gem you can give away about physical appointments?
Belly to belly appointments. Remember that communication is, I want to say it's 70% nonverbal, meaning there's actual courses you can go out there and read people's eyes. So people telegraph everything they do. So I'll teach a couple basic moves here. When people look up, they're trying to figure out an answer for you. They're trying to recall from their memory. When they look down, they don't want to give you the answer. They're either ashamed of it or they're thinking of a lie to do you. And what else can I do? Look people in their eye. It's the most telltale sign of how they're going to communicate to you. And there's certain cultures and there's certain people, they just don't want to look you in your eye. And I find those to be the most challenging people because you can't and so when someone doesn't want to engage your eyes, sometimes it's a cultural thing. And what they'll do is they'll look down into the corner. So don't take offense to it. That's just how they operate. So if they're standing, you stand. If they talk quiet, you talk quiet. If they talk loud, you talk loud. That's simply called mirroring. It makes people comfortable. It makes them have an instant connection with you, and you have to use it. So many people don't understand when someone's talking slow, they want you to talk slow to them.
Agreed. Virtual wholesaling. The one thing I can tell you there is speeds everything for virtual wholesaling. So the one gem I can give you is get a contract signed as quick as possible and then take the pictures after. That's one thing I tell you for virtual wholesaling. Ooh. And then cash buyers. Let's get into that. So sell your deal.
Cash buyers.
Gem you can give.
So you only need one. So you're not there to satisfy everybody. Cash buyers, I will tell you this. If you're doing assignments, which you should be, if they're doing their first assignment agreement with you, in my experience, you need to coach them through it because they're going to have a difficult time with it, especially if there's a realtor associated and they're not familiar with assignments. So here's a little key. If you have someone that really wants the property and they say they're okay with an assignment, what I would do is try to work with your title company and go train them over at your title company because they're going to have massive questions to you and you're most likely not going to be able to answer them on the phone. So make sure you get a proof of funds and they're legit and they can close quickly. I think every realtor in every town conditions everyone for a 30 to 45 day close. You need to target 10 to 14 days max. 7 days is ideal.
Free ways to find cash buyers.
No. Sometimes we overthink it. The simplest way is just putting out a simple bandit sign.
That's not free.
Well, it's $1.
It's $1. That's close.
Okay, so you're talking about online stuff?
Yeah.
The typical social media stuff works very well.
What about realtors?
Realtors work well.
How would you find that?
How would I find that?
A good realtor.
Easiest way. Well, I want to find realtors that if you're doing wholesale deals and you're doing assignments, you have to have realtors that understand how they work. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, it's just an uphill fight. It's like, oh my God, I don't understand. I've had realtors tell me, I think what you're doing is illegal. It's not. You just don't understand it. So once again, if I had to do that, I would try to school them at my title company because they're going to reassure, hey, Rick and Zach are legitimate. That's what they want to do. But once you find them, they're absolute gems. You only have to train them once. And they're like, dude, bring me any other deal you have. And that would be the easiest way to do it.
Boom. What about, what's the gem you give about having relationships with cash buyers?
So many people skip this step. And for you wholesalers that brag about how big your cash buyers list, it doesn't work that way. You only need quality cash buyers in there. So remember, if you have a cash buyer list and you tell me it's 500 or 1,000, I'm probably going to instantly tell you half those people are wholesalers on there. So quality over quantity, and you need to vet your buyers. Absolutely 100%. You have to get a proof of funds because a lot of these buyers will lie to you 100%.
They're like sellers.
And let's face it, I don't really sell to other wholesalers, so I need to know this upfront as soon as possible. If you can't handle deposit or proof of funds, you are not my buyer. So make your top 3 questions. proof of funds, show me your history in buying. And guys, the main thing is I want to sell to a buyer that's trying to buy a house for his daughter, maybe his cousin, maybe he's trying to buy it for his mom, and he's bought one or two, and he's very handy and he loves rehabs. And he buys one or two. The guy who buys 30 or 40, get him out of your Rolodex, man. They're going to kill you. Like, they're going to beat you up.
Exactly.
And they're not going to pay you top dollar. So that's my advice on that one.
Next one is vetting cash buyers. How do you figure out who's the wholesaler and who's not?
You ask. You just flat out. Just by asking by a proof of funds, it will usually kill a wholesaler right there.
And do you accept proof of funds from a lender or an actual bank account?
It's got to be a bank account.
It has to.
Even a line of credit is shaky these days. So you guys understand, anybody can get a letter for, it's like a pre-approval letter for like a regular mortgage.
My cat can get a letter.
Remember, hard money is a loan. I don't care what anyone tells you. It is a loan. You have to get permission from someone to get that money. And if you guys have ever sold the hard money, the lender can hold it up right up at the closing, waiting for particular docs and screw your deal up. So it's not cash.
Perfect. Mindset. Let's talk about mindset. So wholesaling with no money. What's the one tip you can give? Got no money. What's one gem you can give to someone?
You're going to have to outwork and out hustle people. Like, bottom line, end of story. So when I talk about driving for a dollar, when I'm telling you to get like 100, 200, you need to go get 500, 1,000, like whatever it takes. You need to go to every RIA group and try to network with everyone, because even though if you're not doing the business, you get in that mindset. And guys, I understand this. This is a marathon, but you're going to have to do the hustle sprint thing to get caught up, because if you don't have the money, you're going to have to do a lot of the sweat equity. So there is, if you do it, if it takes you a year to do a deal or a day to do a deal, who cares? Like, honestly, it's up to you. If you try to force it and go, oh, I got to get a deal in 30 days or I'm out, dude, don't even start, because there's no guarantees in this business. So the same rewards at the end of it, because after you do one deal turns into two, two turns into five, five turns into 10. I'm up over around a couple thousand, and I started with just one. And it took me a good 2 to 3 months to get my first deal. And I get a lot of questions like, Rick, how many phone calls does it take? How many? I go, listen, if you're committed to it, burn the bridges and just do it. Stop worrying. It's a marathon. Let me ask you, how long did it take you to get your college degree? Although you're not a good person to ask.
18 months.
Yeah, it took me 6 years, 6.5 years. But guess what? I got the dang degree. He's got the degree. Like, there's no how fast did you get the degree on there. So I just want you to understand, it's like, who cares when you finish the race? The key is you have to start the race. And you have to start with your mindset going, I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed in this business. And you will have a lot of ups and downs. And I guarantee you will have a struggle in it.
Boom. One gem I can give as wholesaling as a teenager: confidence. That's it. Build confidence. You'll not have a problem.
Yeah, the sooner you get the confidence bug, especially the younger you are. Zach used to say, well, what about my age? What about my age? I go, do you think it's an issue? And you remember he said, no. I go, okay, then what's the big deal? So remember, it's his mindset on it. Who cares what it costs? Customers, like, they, for the most part, I think they do enjoy young, energetic people. And the guys, when you're young, what you lack in experience, you can make up in other categories. Like, if you're not experienced, why don't you be enthusiastic? You ever been around enthusiastic people? They're just fun to be around. So no one's going to kick you out of your house if you have a good energy level and you're fun to be with. Like, you're entertaining, you're engaging. If you know how to tell jokes and entertain people, bring it in. If that makes you more confident, do it. But that's the key to it.
Building a wholesaling team.
Building a wholesaling team.
What's one gem you can give about that?
So it takes time. And I will tell you, if you think you're going to find quality people on like Indeed and Craigslist and stuff like that, anybody you can find organically that meets what I call your core values, which means your core values are just basically how you operate in life. So if you operate with like integrity and honesty and you feel loyalty is very important to you, I would write it out and make sure when you interview anyone for your team
Mhm.
that they match, because that's where you're going to have the disparity. It's not about your operation manuals, if they did enough input in the Podio or whatever it is for that week. It's because you took that deposit, you didn't put it in the company, and you know how I feel about like people who lie, steal, and cheat. So
Yeah.
you have to find core value and understand organically, if you come across that person that you just think's absolutely amazing and you think would be a good fit for your team, then be patient. A lot of times they will come. So many times you think we can just pay to hire people. And you guys ever look at a resume? I do not look at resumes. Do not look at a resume. It's a waste of time. It's probably the biggest lie you'll ever see on it. So I take your time building it and make sure they align with your core values, and it will save you a lot of headache.
Exactly. Next one here is VAs, virtual assistants. You've had your fair share. What's the gem to give about it?
So VAs, I'm going to give you my experience is VAs are going to do exactly what you tell them to do.
Mhm.
So many people hire VAs and they don't truly understand. The VAs don't even understand what they want them to do. So you have to have a standard operating procedure for a VA. Otherwise, you're literally throwing your money out the window. The VA doesn't know what to do. I'm even going on a limb. I failed a lot of VAs because they didn't understand what I want them to do. You got to understand our minds operate like crazy stuff. So here's a great exercise. This is how simple you have to make it. Think about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
So here's what a lot of us do. We go, hey, Mr. VA, can you go make me a peanut butter jelly sandwich? Or just bring it back to me. Okay. And they come back and all of a sudden the jelly's slopped all over the plate. The peanut butter's on top of it and the bread there. And it's like, they didn't refrigerate this and it's like crumbled up. And you're like, what the hell is this? That's the problem. So what you need to do is make the sandwich and document it. Take out 2 pieces of bread from the cupboard. Take out a knife. Take out like a butter knife. Use a knife to scoop.
You have
2 scoops on it. Take out the jelly. You got to use a separate spoon to put it in there. Put the sandwich. Cut it diagonally, and that's it. It's crazy, but I'm telling you, if you'll do that with everything, you'll get a lot further with a VA. So many of you guys just focus on the KPIs and you don't tell them. So if you're going to tell them to skip trace, where do I go to skip trace?
Yeah.
How do I load the information? How do you want me to communicate back to you? And a lot of times when you get into it, you go, man, this is a lot more work than I thought it was. And it overwhelms you and you just wind up firing me and you keep doing it over and over. So I like to give them one task and see how they do with it, and give them a operations just like I did with the peanut butter and jelly and see how they do and take your time.
Well, the one thing is when Rick makes his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, it's 3 times more peanut butter than jelly.
Like peanut butter, man.
It's
but that's what I would say. I tell them to put on 4 heaping scoops of peanut butter. And that's it. I don't want that thin little. My wife puts this thin little layer of like, what's the point of a peanut butter jelly sandwich?
It's a peanut butter sandwich, the side of jelly for you.
And then there's a constant struggle between grape and strawberry. Yeah.
You're a great guy.
Yeah. So strawberries don't belong on a PBJ.
JVing deals. You've joined venture a bunch of deals.
Oh yeah.
I've done a bunch. What's your gem for JVing deals?
Just spell everything out. Particularly, listen, they're not recorded documents. Is you have to have an agreement. So get a JV agreement. They're pretty simple. I think we have one that we can share.
If we don't have one, we'll get one done.
So it's spell it out. Who's in charge of the actual contract, communicating with the customer? Who's going to be in charge of the stuff between contract and close? And who's in charge of dispositions? And which title company you use? And you really got to spell it out, because I can tell you the great thing about JVs is when the deal's over, if you don't like how it worked out with them, you just wash your hands and call it a day. As opposed to a partnership, like you're locked in, like it's forever. If the JV goes well and you go, man, that guy's like awesome, his buyer's list, and he did all the work. So like if I'm in Florida and say you're in Michigan and I got a lead, I go, hey, listen, I got this house. It seems pretty cheap. You got buyers for it? He goes, yeah, hey, I'd love to JV up with you. I go, can you really come through for me? He goes, yeah. I go, I tell you what, I'll give you 30 days to come through for me. Can you come through? Okay, so we put an agreement together. Maybe you do 50-50, maybe you do 60-40. It just depends on, hopefully you're assigning it. But if I have to fund it, maybe you got to change it up because you got to compensate them. And then you spell it out. And if that guy sells it and I don't have to do a lot of work past the initial contract, and it's great, I'm like, hey, why don't we do like 4 more of these? If I give you some more, can you do it? And then they're going to give you data. Hey, these are the zip codes that work. This is what I want to do. And that's it. And when it goes south, just finish the deal, no matter how profitable, and move on with your life. There's nobody's going to court. Nobody's doing anything like that. You both can have separate entities and pay them, and then you guys pay your own taxes. So you're not married to the financials, taxes, anything like that.
That's it. Work schedule and time management. You got some interesting things that not a lot of people talk about on YouTube. Like time block, you work 2 hours and stop and go. Like what's some gems you give about that? Because that's huge.
I am a self-diagnosed ADHD type of person. So my whole family. I get distracted kind of like I get into stuff and I get excited about it. And so when you look at the highest earning tasks in your company, which in my opinion is always going to be marketing and sales, is you want to take a time block.
Yes.
So like if you're working on a marketing plan, and especially if you're new to it, and even like you seasoned veterans, take a 2-hour scheduled block. If you're going to do it first thing in the morning, and just do it. Don't let anything take you off, and just commit to do it and like burn the ships and do it. Do not be tempted to start organizing your files, start looking at Facebook, or start doing all this other stuff, because that 2 hours can turn into 5 hours and you don't get anything done. And then it's weighing on you the next day. And I talk about this all the time, man. Being busy is bad. Like so you guys know, if you have a work an 8 or 10 hour work job at work, the reality is you're only probably productive like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So the rest of the time you're busy. Okay. If you're on somebody else's dime, I guess you can be busy. When you're busy in your own wholesaling business, you're doing all the stuff that's not going to make you any money. And being busy is, in my opinion, procrastination. Yeah. Why do we do busy stuff? Because when we get uncomfortable doing cold calls, texting, calling sellers, we get a little bit scared, and then our subconscious mind goes, okay, what can I do to like make it feel right? You're going to do something you actually know how to do. So if it's organizing your files or even sweeping the floors, crap like that, you know exactly how to do it, and it eases your mind, but it doesn't solve the task. So you might as well just bite the head of the snake off and get it done. Then you can go do fun, busy stuff, fishing, hiking, if it's working out, like whatever, spending time with the family. Busy work sucks. It just like, you start doing it. Like, when you go out and you got to paint the mailbox because you get tired of the way the guy's painting it. Like I used to mow my own lawn. Even in the hot summer months, I did it when I got stressed because I knew I could get it done, and it put me at ease. So busy's bad.
All right, let's answer some questions. If you guys got any questions, hit me up. Hit us up. We'll answer them.
Let's do it.
All right. So Kevin Gomez says pre-foreclosure list from Zillow, Redfin. Zillow's a little better. Redfin's decent. They're not the best. ListREI.com still better, but they're not bad. Let's get it. OG. Love it. SCOLE says, yo, how big should my cold calling list be to get a deal? I would say about 3,000 to 5,000. If you're doing probates, you're driving for dollars a little less. All right. Get you some questions.
Okay.
So, Jason says, happy Friday, both.
Happy Friday, Jason.
The American flag. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? What's up? Let's see. What do you think about this one? This opening. Hey, this is Samuel. Have I caught you at a bad time? No. What's it about? How would you answer that for cold calling?
Let me see here. I don't know what's it about. So we talked earlier about turning the objection into an opportunity. And You have to find a way. I mean, I can tell you, but a lot of times you have to find a way that makes you uncomfortable but comfortable to respond and turn it into. So you had a creative way. Like I think the biggest
Ask
objection.
a question with a question.
Correct.
Are you the owner of 123 Main Street? Throws them off. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then now you're on the offensive. Now they're on the defensive.
So like the biggest objection I think most people get in cold calling is like, how did you get my phone number?
Marketing department.
Yeah. It's what we call the deflection.
Do you see how I instantly thought it's
got to come out. If you wait 10 seconds to answer it, they're going to kill you.
I know.
And unfortunately, it takes some experience to do it. But the next step to experience is practice. You guys got to practice it. It's you have to practice. Now, I'm not really a cold calling guy. I can do it on the fly. It's just it doesn't fit my personality. So just be true to who you are.
Good afternoon, Rick and Zach. Excited to be able to catch the live early. Awesome, sweet. Hello, Rick and Zach from Pompano Beach, Florida.
Pompano.
It's Pompano Beach, right? Not Pompano, Florida.
Well, some people call it Pompano,
right.
but
I never miss your videos. Thanks for teaching us for free. Of course.
I grew up down there that way.
When pulling a pre-program list in listri.com, how do you skip the list for the errors? When you skip it, it gets the actual deceased person. How do you get the errors? If you use batch leads, they use credit bureau data, so the relatives' phone numbers will pop up.
Bingo.
Boom. John asks,
what does skip tracing mean? It's actually a term that came from debt collectors. They basically put your name in a database and any address, and the idea is to get an address, phone number, or any type of forwarding mail, any type of information on you and your relative. So it's basically digging up any information to get in contact with somebody.
Exactly. Good question here. So I just started using batch leads yesterday. Today I had 2 responses from people who have the proper list of the realtors. What do you recommend I say when I call or text realtors? I'm pretty nervous.
Well, understanding realtors are not your ideal candidate for like a wholesaling deal. So knowing going in front of it, just ask your normal set of questions. And if they beat you up, just move on. I mean, you got any other advice on that?
They're not good ones.
They're not good. So don't stress about them. So you need to find motivated sellers without realtors. Motivated seller typically does not have a realtor.
Well,
if they do have a realtor, it's probably not a good one.
Do you mail your drawing for dollars list? What type of verbiage? We do offerpostcard.com. Offerpostcard.com. We mail them an offer above basically ARV, and we bring them down from there. We get the best response rates.
It's simple. It works.
So offerpostcard.com. Let's see. How do you create your own scripts to say the seller? Just use my script. Ask them if they are the owner of the property, and then ask them if they're interested in selling the house. Once they say yes, that they're interested in selling the house, ask them for a question. Add 4 pillars. Basically, everyone knows what's the condition of the property, why they're looking to sell the property, the time frame, and lastly, the price. I keep it really simple. What do you call agents, sellers on Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I prefer Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m., but do whatever one you want. Good one for you here.
Sometimes you just got to call them.
Yeah.
How do you handle sue happy people if they played along as a motivated seller and then try to press for charges for calling? Listen, they're not your customer. The easiest way to deal with them, remember, these people got a lot of time in their hands, because if they're like faking you, what do they call it? Whatever, I don't know, catfishing you or whatever, is they're just there to waste your time. So just kill them with kindness and move on. 9 times out of 10, they're never going to follow through on their threat. Ask me how I know this. Just move on. Be polite.
Don't get a lawyer mad though. You get a stick. If a lawyer gets a stick up their butt, they will go after you.
I know, but like arguing with someone being like rude to them, it will only put fuel in the fire. It feels a little bit uncomfortable and awkward, but listen, At the end of the day, you're not forcing anyone to sell you a house. They have to do it voluntarily. I don't think, um, just move on, kill them with kindness. And if you just tell them, I'll take you off my list, a lot of times they'll kind of go away because they don't expect you to say that. So
It's crazy. Cold call script. Yes. That's what we used to have for the VAs. I'm late, but hey, friends, thanks for this as usual. What point do I start using dialer, hire VA? Until you start consistently getting deals, I would get a VA or do a dialer.
or set a revenue goal too. Like have it,
Exactly.
once you get X amount of dollars, then you want to bring some help.
100K a year.
Yeah.
Done for you there.
Don't do it up front.
It's a good one.
What if the property you have under contract is on the city's condemned list? Does that matter? Well, the first thing you have to do is work with the owner of the property. So unless the city owns it, you still have some time to do it.
Yeah.
But it's on the condemned list. There's, in my opinion, there's usually a good reason for it. So you got to ask yourself, how am I going to be able to sell a property on the condemned list? So
well, usually it's on a condemned. It's on the condemned list because the repairs exceed the tax assessed value. And so the city doesn't even think it's even worth it. It's probably not even worth it equity wise for you, but I would try to call the city and save it, right?
So, but you got to kind of have a plan with it and kind of know what you're getting in with it. But if the city doesn't own it, no matter what, you'll still have to have the consent of the owner. So if you don't have an agreement with the owner, chasing the city down is a waste of your time.
Yeah.
So start with the owner and work your way backwards. Some of them can be safe. There's some people who specialize in it. It is not my forte. If they're that bad, I usually just kind of move on. But in certain blighted cities, if that's what you want to do, it'll work. Start with the owner. How do you How do you choose the area to target for driving for dollars? So the simplest thing is just start in your neighborhood, especially if you're new to this business. So unless you live in like Beverly Hills or something like that, or like Manhattan, just find an area that you know the neighborhood. Once you know the neighborhood, you can quickly identify which are the problem properties. And then what you can do is slowly expand your perimeter, and you pick up other towns. So maybe it was a place you're driving to work. So maybe you got like a 30-mile drive to work, and you get to know those neighborhoods and you start identifying trends. That's how you do it. Do the areas you're most comfortable with and you completely understand. That's the challenge when you do any type of virtual investing. It's great if you can work with someone in those markets. If not, I use like listrei.com, so I can at least use the data to try to figure out what I'm doing in that market. So start in your backyard and expand your perimeter.
All right. Alyssa asks, where do you guys buy your we don't do Bandit Signs anymore, but it was our local sign shop here. I'll answer this one too. Zach, we still use Podio. Yeah, I don't use REI Reply, so I don't know. But Shake and Bake, I love it. Guys, that's from Talladega Nights, the movie, by the way. If anyone wants to get in
Shake
on
and
the
Bake.
joke. Oh my gosh.
It works. So I'm telling you, first and last always works. When you have competition for stuff, you have to like create utter chaos and confusion. Now, it's not on your seller. It's always on your competition, because they're like, listen, you look at everything, you assess it, you let them do the parade, and then you make sure you're the last guy to show up there because you have all the information there. And then if you want to get in a bidding war at that, she's like, okay, give me 100,000, you can have it. If you decide to do that, it's great. I would never do that. So if you put an offer out first, they're just going to use it against you. Would you agree?
I agree.
So don't put the offer out. And then, by the way, when you have competition there, don't badmouth them. Say, this is a great property, isn't it? And they always get suspect. Like, well, am I missing something? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to outwork you. That's how I look at it. So
Perfect.
What is the buyer sending you for proof of funds from buyer? Picture of an account, or how do we know their proof of funds is legit? What do we need as proof? So real simple. A bank statement works probably the best because each page is numbered and it has a date. And I'll have a bank account. They usually give you like the last 4 digits, and they look really, really official. Listen, if someone's going to go through that much work to doctor it up, there's only so much I can do. Number 2, sometimes I've met with people at a coffee shop, or they meet you at the property, and I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of apps people can get into. especially like Bank of America, stuff like that, that you can, they can show you right there, log in their account and show you what it is. But a simple screenshot. What I will not accept is a letterhead or something from an attorney or like a line of credit letter, because you have no idea of the availability, how quickly they can pull the funds, or if it's even cleared.
Agreed.
So, and then look for big banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. It's hard to doctor that stuff. If I hear of like a savings loan I never heard of until on a letterhead, I'm probably not going to like buy into it. So
DFson says, should we mention that there will be an assignment in the contract? Any of us had a work on our contract? We may sign the contract. That's it. Virtual wholesaling and inspections. In virtual wholesaling, if you have a good picture of the prop, get under contract first, trust them, do a little zoom, and then take pictures after. Love PB&J. Parker wants to know, how are you guys related? That's my father. And yeah.
That's my son.
That's basically how it works. My God, these people. Best way to make a PB&J.
I like to put
no.
Oh, okay.
He agrees.
Okay, see?
Drench it in peanut butter and have no.
I like it super thick where you have to have a drink to wash it down.
I'm gonna have a PB&J tonight. Now
PB&J. I got to come up with some PB&J wholesaling terms.
Great. Driving home from work, time to tune in, listen to the boys. Thank you for everything you guys do. Thank you so much, Steven.
Appreciate it.
If not do busy stuff, then what do you recommend doing? I'm into postcards. I'm assuming high dollar activities. Yeah, I would say high dollar activities would be driving for dollars. I would consider that a high dollar activity. Obviously, talking to sellers, following up, marketing, planning, things like that.
Yeah, follow up is probably the biggest part of the business people overlook, because when you start, the problem is you have a lack of leads, and it's like, okay, I get it. It can be easy to get busy, but like 3 or 6 months down the road, if you're having a slow month, go into your database and just start combing. Like a lot of times people they'll just make a decision, I need to sell. Who can I sell this thing fast enough? And if you're not in their face at the time, you're not going to get the deal. So that's where the follow-up is going to make it win for you.
Boom. Let's see here. Christopher wants to know, how soon can he quit his job?
Christopher. So I need a little bit more information for that. So I'll tell you, I'll just share my story with you. I had a job when I had this one, and I had a mortgage, I had children I had to take care of, and I had a wife, and I had obligations, and just quitting my job.
I had a wife. You still have a wife.
We're coming on 25 years. So I had obligations. So quitting my job if I quit now I wasn't happy at my job, probably like you are, but I still had obligations. So what I did is I started seeking out information. God, I wish I found something like this when I started. And you can start working your way in the wholesaling. Remember, you got 24 hours in a day. So let's say you sleep 8 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
You cut it down to 6, but if you sleep 8 hours a day, and then you're probably going to work on your job another 8 hours, that's 16 hours. Okay. So that leaves you what? That leaves you another 8 hours.
You got to brush your teeth.
Yeah. You figure 2 hours are there. I'm just telling you, man, like there's 24 hours in the day, Lo. So if you can work effectively for 2 hours and concentrate on it, it will work. In the beginning, it starts off slow. Like all you need is one deal to separate you. So the first deal I did, I made 10 grand, and I thought I was on top of the world. And then what I did from there is I set a goal. I said, listen, if I could replace my salary with wholesaling income, I'll leave my job. And I shared it with my wife, and it took me about 5 months, but man, I had firing myself from my job was one of the greatest experiences in my life.
Oh my gosh. All right.
So 1 year's salary is a great one too.
All right. Lightning round. All right.
Go ahead. Lightning round.
What do you mean?
I got a PBJ at the end of it.
I do. I want a PBJ now.
Okay. Wonder if you toast the bun.
No, stop. No.
I want it soft.
No.
Okay.
Ew. Hi guys. Do you make offers with? Actually, I could toast a peanut butter. Make it like a toast.
See?
And put peanut butter. Tastes good.
We should have our
toasted
PBJ
jelly
YouTube channel.
I might try that. All right. How do you guys make offers through SMS? We don't. We qualify them and then we'll call them after that. We don't do it. We make our offers literally in person. That's what we do. What's your MAO formula? I'm going to say this very quickly. Go to Wholesaling Houses for Real. It's a free wholesaling course we have. It's all up in there. But I'll put the little thing on the bottom there. I know. MAO would basically be what the property's worth, the ARV, after repairs, minus the repairs, multiply that by about 83, 85%, and then minus off your fee. That's your MAO.
See what you can sell it for.
It's true. Well, that's if you're going to wholesale it.
Yeah.
Talking about wholesaling. It takes 3,000 to cold call for one deal. Depends dialer. If you're using a 10, 12 line dialer, it could take 100. It depends on the list, really.
Everyone's different.
New to the channel, great father and son team. You're fortunate to have each other. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. Again, if you guys are watching this on the Zach Ginn channel, remember, this is my dad. He's still going to be on the Zach Ginn channel. I mean, we can't separate our businesses. We're intertwined. Yeah. We're one. So the Zach Ginn channel is going to have exclusive Zach Ginn content on it too, usually on the weekends. The only difference is during the weekday, it's usually the same, except Mondays will be a Rick Ginn video usually or a Zach Ginn video. But on the Zach Ginn channel, we exclusive Zach on the week content on the weekends usually, and the lives we usually do the same. So appreciate it. If not doing business, we've already answered this one. Let's see. Quick one for you. Best way to find out how much money light to medium heavy remodeling will be in Sarasota County.
My advice to you, and we're talking about wholesaling, is try to stay out of remodeling. I'm just telling you. You know why? Because it's an unknown cost, and we're investors, and we're here to make money. I like to do dumpsters, paintbrush, and pressure cleaners. Once you got to go past that, it's time, it's money, it's unknown, and labor is really short, especially in the state of Florida right now. It's my advice to you. Find a price that will get people activity on it and cut out the rehab. So try to get it done in 7 days with just a general cleanup.
All right. We're just going to do last couple questions. I'm going to choose some to do really quick. Alani wants to know if you have $10,000 in your bank for marketing, what would you do?
10,000 in my bank account.
If you hate phones, what would you do?
Well, I don't want to steer anybody wrong here. It's the first thing you have to identify is what you want to do. So if you don't like cold calling, you don't like cold calling.
This person doesn't. I love it. You don't.
Well, it's
just different mindsets.
I would go after lists of off-market lists. Remember, it's not about how much money you have to get a deal. I find people that actually have less money do better in this business because they can't overspend. Every dollar has to count. So I would find off-market lists, code violations, tax delinquencies, water shutoffs. What other lists can you put on there? Driving for dollars is an off-market list. And then I would find the way that you want to execute and connect with those people, either skip tracing. If you want to do for like a mail, you could do offerpostcard.com. Just do it. Don't spend all 10,000 in one shot. You have to learn as you do this. So that's my advice to you. I mean, I'd come up with a budget and come up with like a 3 to 6 month plan with that. It works.
Perfect. Quick one for you, give Upwork.com. LA wants to know what's your coupon code in batch. How much is the skips? Depending on what it is, it'd be 10 to 15 cents, but use ZACH. You get 50% off of that. It's a good one, I guess. How do you start in escrow, and what is escrow for wholesaling?
Escrow is simply a deposit for a piece of real estate, and it's usually held with an escrow company, which 9 times out of 10 is going to correlate with the title company. So if you're leaving $100 or a $500 deposit, you leave it in escrow. It's usually left with the title company. It's all it is a deposit. Don't complicate it.
D. Epson says, if you don't have both decision makers in line when you make the first call, should you continue to try to set up a time? You only need both decision makers on the appointment or when you're actually going to present the offer. It's best to have them both on the line, but still talk to that person a little, but don't go into closing at all until you have both decision makers on. Trust me, I've lost so many deals because I've not had both decision makers. Luke says, joining PropStream and getting skip trace tomorrow. What list should I go for first? Depending on your marketing, of course, but
If you're just starting out, I like the vacant list. It's
Yeah.
easy, it's simple, and there's a lot of gold in it. You just got to dig through it.
Great question here. If there is an open permit to a house, is it risky to wholesale it?
No.
Well,
You can sell it with the open permit. You just got to,
Mm-hmm.
the title company will do what they call an exclusion. And if your buyer's okay with it and you're okay with it, who cares?
all right, let's see.
Just the buyer has to fix it. That's all.
Made $93,000 in June, but I'm not consistent with deals. Should I try to hire and scale? Then I have the funds, still working a job. If you're not consistent with it, I would get a VA to do some consistent stuff. If you're making that much money, you need a VA to do your marketing with you.
Yeah, you got 93K. So like spread the love and have some people help get consistency on following up and chasing down leads. And you made 93K. Like you don't have to make 93K every month, or you make 150K. But like even if you go a month or two without it, if you have a plan now to get some people to help you out on deal flow, it should level out a little bit, a whole lot more.
And this is a good one from Kelly.
So kudos to that.
If someone says they don't give their proof of funds, they can cover up their account number and show you. It's not.
Yeah, honestly, the ones that don't want to give you the proof of funds don't have the money.
I know.
That's it. Ask me for a proof of funds. I want to buy your house for 100 grand. I'm going to show you 100 grand because I want it. If I'm going to play games with you, I'm not going to show it to you. It snuffs the liars out to you right away. And that's why it's the first question we ask buyers.
Boom. Zach, take me under your wing and raise me as your wholesaling son. I'm good. But if you ever have a deal you want to JV with me, always send it. I'll go help you out doing that. Should we keep 15% set aside as money for state taxes? I know you don't provide tax advice. I'm not a lawyer, tax professional. Rick is not either.
Yeah.
But general rule of thumb, I personally keep 20% just because I don't want to mess with Uncle Sam or the IRS. But we are both, personally for me and Rick, but for me, I can say this to myself, I'm cash flow heavy. I have a lot of passive income coming through, so I can do 20. If I'm this guy that's getting a wholesaling deal once every 4 months, 30%. But I'm very cash flow heavy, so I can be 20%. Rick's very cash flow heavy. So
now you do enough of them, the government makes us send a quarterly check. So, but it depends on your state and stuff like that. So find a good accountant you can kind of work with, regardless of how many deals you do, and get good, solid advice.
Boom. Guys, you're great. Good tip on the follow-up. Thank you. Congrats on the 25 years. That's awesome. 25 years.
How old are you?
In a week. 21.
Yeah. So.
Oh, but you're 24 now, right? It'll be 25 within a week.
Yeah. So.
I got my first deal from follow-up for 4 months, $25,000 assignment fee.
That's it, man. See, guys, follow-up is just a timing thing. Like, if you've ever sold a piece of real estate or even like a car or like a boat or anything, just one day you go, I'm done. Let's call that guy who keeps bugging the crap out of me, or he just called me last week. And that's what works. The guy who sends a postcard to offer, you got to do something to get in these people. And you guys have gold in your databases. Just work it.
Boom. Last question. Ashley says, you guys talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches got me thinking about wholesaling sandwich lease options.
All right, there we go.
Quick tip on wholesaling sandwich lease options before we end this.
You can't make them work. You can't force them. Either they work or they don't. I've had wholesaling deals where I've talked people into it. If you're good with the gab and you can do a good rapport, but anytime. And so wholesaling sandwich is basically a creative finance term, and they either work or they don't. You cannot convince somebody to do a creative deal. They have to cooperate 100% or the deal falls apart.
Oh, that's it, guys. Guys, thank you guys so much. This is Rick and Zach Ginn. We're here to help you out in real estate wholesaling. We're here to help you make over 100K per year, all for free. That's it. Remember, guys, like this video and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful 4th. Stay safe and blow some stuff up.